Okay. So hi everyone from wherever you are joining. So it's good evening from India and then good morning from US.
Morning.
Today we have with us my batchmate and good friend Professor Kamlesh Tiwari. So he did his BTech from IIT Kharagpur. Thereafter he worked couple of years in very well-known organizations like Mo Sigma, Sutherland Global Services. And then he went to US, where he did his PhD from University of Wisconsin. And interestingly, he moved to non-technology area, that is marketing. And then as of now, he is teaching at University of Arkansas, where he is also interim chair for the School of Business. And it's quite early in the morning, so he agreed for this session. Thank you, Kamlesh bhai.
Thank you, Sid. It's not that early. I would say it's like 9 a.m. here. It's a Saturday, so thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Thank you. So, you were in a good department in IIT. After IIT, of course, people's dream is to have a good department. And then you worked with good organization. What was your motivation to go to US and then pursue further studies?
So this happened as a coincidence, I would say. I was working for Mu Sigma, and there we were doing marketing analytics. We were having Walmart was one of the clients that we were working with. So Mu Sigma has an interesting story. So Mu Sigma was started by two guys. One was he did his MBA from Chicago Booth, and there he got some connection with the industry players. And then his friend, who was a statistics PhD from IISc, and he built a team in Bangalore, and they started with one client, one big client, and then they started growing. So what happened was, when it was still new, I had joined Mu Sigma after working for a couple of years in Bombay, Sutherland. It was also an analytics company. So I was on this track of marketing analytics in industry. And the one friend of mine who was at Mu Sigma at that time, he was also pursuing his PhD, and
Oh,
he's a KGPN too. So
okay.
during his time at Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas, he shared with me his experience of how is it going in his PhD. And luckily, that guy is now an entrepreneur, a very successful one. He has moved to India, and they're doing pretty well. So after talking to him, I decided that okay, yeah, I mean, maybe academia would be one route I would like to explore, because he said that there are chances you can, while doing it, you decide what you want to do, and it'll be pretty comfortable if you are in two minds whether you want to go to industry or academia, because he was doing his 1 year at Walmart while doing his PhD. So that made me apply for that, and then I applied a couple of places, three places, and I got admission in two, and I joined University of Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, wonderful. So, what was your strategy to apply? What were maybe, as per your when you reflect back on it, what were few factors in your application process which helped you maybe secure this admission? So,
So first thing was, of course, the things that you have to do, which are like required things like GMAT. I had to write GMAT for this. Then you write your essay and all those things. But most importantly, you have to start writing. For PhD in particular, you have to start writing to professors, because they call it hiring PhD students. Okay, it's not like you are getting admitted. One professor will choose to work with you, and so you write to the professors as much as you can in different schools. First of all, figure out who you would like to work with, and there's no harm in trying to connect. Okay, so the networking, it actually helps in US much more than in India, I think, because in US people are always on the lookout for people who are students who are, instead of going to industry, they are ready to work with the professor, and the moment they find you interesting enough, they would offer you. So many times some students come for MS, and I know personally many students who come for MS, and after that they do so well, and professors want to work with them. They say, hey, would you like to do PhD under me? And sometimes they recommend them to some other places. So it's about networking, and In my case, I got a lot of help from my senior who was doing his PhD there. So he helped me with choosing the schools and writing my cover story. All those things he helped me. He guided me what you have done. So you write a coherent story. Okay, write like his journey was different. He had gone to from KGP. He had gone to masters right away. Mine was different. I had worked for 2 years in Bangalore, 2 years in Bombay, then came back to Bangalore, and then I had applied. So my journey was different. So he said, just write a coherent story. Why from KGP, from your department? Why did you move to analytics? Okay, why did you go to market research? So I had to write a very coherent story, and that happens. First of all, you have to write a story that once you graduated during your undergrad years, you found some interesting course. So I had done that. I had taken one operations research course, and I really enjoyed it. It was one of the good courses for me, and I went to that professor. I got his recommendation, and I had got an A in that. So I was he was very happy to give me that recommendation. Then I got a couple of recommendations from my office, my CEO, all the startups, and one of my VP of my Mu Sigma, and that helped me get a good footing. Yeah.
Okay. So you are implying that along with, let's say, the academic feedback, academic recommendations, even the industry where one might have worked in and then professional, so that recommendation also helps.
Yeah, as long as they are you work directly under them. uh, as long as you work directly under them, and they can write something about how you have delivered on projects, and how you manage projects, how you manage conflicts and interests of other members in the team.
Okay, okay, okay. So, when you have to maybe give a kind of contrast to the Indian academic environment, you studied at one of the best engineering schools in India and then at a US university. So, how do you contrast in terms of maybe, let's say, the academic work pressure, resources available, libraries, access to faculty, classroom, or maybe proportion to faculty and student?
Okay, so that's an interesting question. In India, we have a little rigid structure, I would say, in terms of opportunities when you're doing a program. Over here in the US, it's more flexible. So let's say you started doing, uh, you chose a major, and in the meanwhile, you feel like you're gonna move to some other area, or you are interested in doing double major or something. That's very flexible. You can take a semester off. That also is acceptable. But for international students, it's not easy. If you're an international student, and if you're doing, let's say, PhD, you can take 1 year off. It's called optional practical training. And there are two, CPT and OPT. So there is one called compulsory practical training, and you can write that. You can write to your professor, say that, yeah, while doing my PhD. And I'm giving example of PhD only, because for masters, those are like 2 years you have to do consecutive. You have to be enrolled in every semester for 3 credits, 6 credits, at least 6 hours. But for PhD, after you have defended your proposal, you can actually take a year off and then go to industry and get a feel for industry. And once you feel like, okay, I have got an opportunity, an offer, then come back to your university and then submit your thesis and go back to industry. So that is one that
Oh,
I find very interesting. Another thing, resource wise, yeah, resource wise, I think even in India, we have a lot of universities now have, like, of course, forget about IIMs where you went. IIMs, ISB, definitely one of the best in the world, but some of the best in the world. But we also have like JIBS, Jindal, then we have Kriya. We have a lot of good universities coming up, of course, and they have good resources. But in US, it's like you can collaborate also among universities. So one course in marketing, Pradeep Chintagunta is a very well known professor. Okay, marketing. He's a superstar of marketing. I got a chance to go for one semester to his class, and I took one that was for credit at University of Chicago, and it was allowed. I didn't have to pay a single buck, because I was in Wisconsin. Chicago is just 2 hours away from there, and Illinois. So there were partnership between university, and then all I had to do was just to write to my registrar, and they got me enrolled, and I went to Chicago for a semester, and it was like, so if you're interested in something, just talk to your professor, and they help you very much. But yeah, another thing you said about how what the class ratio and things like that, those are definitely lower. Like in a one class that I teach now, I have no more than 30 students. So it
Oh,
cannot be more than 30 students for any class. And during PhD, it was even much low for my professors, maybe 10, 12 people. And then availability wise, so they'll have their office hours, and that's pretty much structured. So you have to write to your professor. You cannot just go to their room at any
okay.
time, even if they're working. It's you better first take an appointment, even if they're advisor. You cannot text them, and of course they would rarely share their personal numbers, so that they respect their personal space, and they also respect your personal space. So they would also write email instead of texting you. So that why over the weekends they don't expect you to reply, and likewise.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Now, apart from the academic environment which you were part of while you were studying, of course, at IIT, you were quite involved in a lot of cultural activities, extracurricular. So, what other activities other than academics you were involved, and then how did it help you maybe get acclimatized to the foreign environment?
So I just yeah, I mean, as in college days, I was in social cultural activities. So I had that the nature of mingling with people and outgoing nature. So same happened here when I came here. I first of all I found a lot of Asian friends, like Indian, then Indian, Pakistani, Bangladeshis, and also some European friends. And we would just there'll be international students. Organizations will have some of the functions, okay, like every year on Holi, Diwali, we'll have some function, and I would be active in that. So again, as part of the team member of cultural organization, I would sing. There'll be some friends who will play something, some musical performances. Then dramatics was there, and then as you go along, after 1 year or second year or third year in PhD, I'm talking about, you will have to take those responsibility of, if there are new students coming, you gotta write to them. Okay, someone is looking for a house, you can help them find it, the way it had happened to me. So you take it forward, and that's the way you meet a lot of friends. So I met some of the best friends in during my time. Other than IIT, I have a lot of friends who I met in Wisconsin. I'm still in touch with them after 10, 15 years.
Okay. Wonderful. So, as you mentioned that after academia, people also have an option to go to industry,
Mhm.
but you stuck with academia, and now you are heading the business school. So, as a chair professor. So, what prompted you to stay with academics?
So it was primarily because the moment I graduated, so I before 1 year before submitting my thesis, I got a chance to work as an adjunct faculty. Okay, so again, like my friend who had gone to Walmart for 1 year on his CPT, I chose to get a feel for actual teaching. So we were teaching, like, so PhD is not, you don't pay, right? PhD, you know that PhD, during PhD you get everything is covered. Your not only your tuitions, your living costs also. You get stipends and things like that. So during that time, when I was until you submit your thesis, you are just a TA, okay, teaching assistant. So you help a professor teach in their classes. But once you defend your thesis, you are eligible to become instructor, okay, independent instructor. So they give you the same classes that you were TAing earlier. Like, so let's say for me, marketing research was one of the classes that I was TA for. And then after defending my proposal, not thesis, thesis proposal, passing my qualifying exams, I was given that. So for 1 semester I taught that, and then I got an opportunity to get here at another school for instructor position. Okay, they call it instructor before you have finished PhD, and for 1 year, and I got this opportunity, and I thought, okay, let me explore it. How? Because in US they don't hire in the same university. Okay, if you do PhD from a school A, they won't hire you as faculty there. They want to keep this diversity. Like, okay, go somewhere else, get tenure, and then you can come back. So they want to bring new people. So there was no chance I would be hired at my place, which was very comfortable. And I knew the system, everything ecosystem, but I knew, okay, let's explore something else, and came here and for 1 year, and I liked it. And then I saw that once I finished my PhD, I can continue to join here and without much hassle. And then I followed that path. And yeah, once I came here, I saw that the university had some program for me to even continue my consulting side by side. Okay, so I thought, okay, uh, I would like to be in touch with industry, and Walmart is giving lots of money. So Walmart is one of the companies in my state. Okay, and they have a lot of funds for our research, and they allow us to go to Walmart, take our students there, interact with them, and I find teaching fun. I have been teaching actually since I was in college. So I used to teach physics in even in our college.
Mm. Okay, wonderful. So, when you reflect back on your experiences, and then in case you have to give maybe suggestion to your younger self, maybe who is maybe planning to study abroad, what few things you would suggest probably because of which a person who is going to study outside their home country could make best out of those experiences?
Yeah, first thing I will say that don't be discouraged by seeing the competition in India. Okay, that was one thing that I was, because we had gone to a very select university. Okay, IIT, so super competitive, right? And there I had lack of confidence when I would go, and I would see people who have, let's say, Delhi, okay, Delhi or Nehli, and I would compare, think that, oh, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite there yet. So that lack of confidence, when you surround yourself with in such an environment, you should not care so much if you have changed area. Okay, particularly when you have changed area, then first thing you gotta do is wherever you join, start performing there, so that, like, when you get an opportunity after your college, of course, if you're a superstar, you will get some opportunities. Maybe you will go directly for master's, PhD. But let's say if you have taken industry route and then figuring out that, oh man, should I continue, am I eligible for higher studies, can I go for this, that at that time, start writing to people, start writing to your seniors. And that's what I did. And then there are lots of opportunities, not only here but India also. So if I would tell my younger self, I'll say that be more aggressive, and just try to network with people, use your network. And we have a lot of good people who are helping us, right? Particularly for alumni network, they help each other a lot. So write to people, connect with them, and share, write 100 emails, maybe you will get 10 replies, but
Sure.
maybe out of those 10, 8 will be super helpful. There are people who are going out of the way to help you, because they have
Agree.
been there or they have that nature. So I met Arjun Malhotra only a few days ago. Sunny Valley superstar,
Mm.
right? And I just discussed
Yeah.
with him how they have been doing. So now he just tells us, just write to me. One of my friends, our friends actually, he was looking for funding, and he said, okay, yeah, come to me, write to me, and we'll figure something out. So what I'm saying, just an example, that such a successful person, he just, because of knowing that you have been there, and he shared the same alma mater, and then he said, okay, just let me talk to you. So people go out of the way to help each other. And young kids in India, at least at our time, they were they think that, okay, no, I missed the bus. Okay, I missed the
Agree.
bus maybe, and it's all over. No, it's not. It's, you have to start wherever you are, whenever you are ready. You can start and build your story, create your own story. Yeah.
Agree. Thank you for all those motivational words. I think it will resonate with many people, some of whom are watching this session and then subsequently will watch in the future. And rightly said that one should not be afraid of taking initiatives. Maybe in many cases, the social context in which we have brought in, कि, okay, beta ye mat karo, wo mat karo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
probably that gets probably inside it, and then when people after maybe let's say they have completed engineering management, they usually try to take a maybe a traditional path, probably which parents would say take a
Yeah.
job or maybe don't pursue something.
Yeah.
So, but rightly said that exploration is required
Right.
because unless and until people explore, they will not understand what is their inherent strength. Uh,
Exactly.
and and given that, as you have said, that from engineering you could transition to management, so people can do something. It is not that, as you rightly point out, miss the bus.
No, no, no. I
So,
mean, and it's not that people think that, okay, I've studied for 4 or 5 years something. No, it is that is how it is happening. In the life, that is how you don't, at 17, 18 years, you have decided something. in what circumstance you have, like, so I, in what circumstance you have chosen a particular area, you don't know. You were too young to decide for the whole life you're going to pursue that, okay, most of the time.
Agreed.
So when you're a little mature, when you've seen the industry, how things work, and you find some passion somewhere, again, take that risk. Maybe you will have success, maybe you will find it little, maybe too complex, maybe a little too stressful, but go for it, take that risk again, particularly when you are in a position to, particularly when you have worked in industry for a few years. So we all had worked, if something, let's say if I had applied to three only, I applied only three. If I had not been accepted anywhere, I would have continued doing something else, maybe try it again next year if I was really really passionate. But one thing I would recommend students in particular is that explore other cultures, okay, and try to get, and don't be afraid when you come to US, even if you don't have funding, let's say, there are lots of opportunities in your university. Write to people, I want to work as a TA, or I want to work as a library assistant or something. And you don't know, sometimes there are opportunities that are around the corner, and all you have to do is just go and ask people. Don't hesitate. learn to Learn to accept as many no's, be comfortable listening to no's, but keep trying, keep trying.
Thank you, Kamlesh. Was really nice. And we are at the end of the session. So thank you very much for all those insights, all those motivational words, even bringing out a lot of things from your own experiences, and how once you reach out, you found that there are people to help. It is only that one has to take initiative. There is world to help, whether you are
Yeah,
from IT system, non-IT system, and as
exactly.
you mentioned that 100 mail आप लिखो, but at least few would response. Probably the success rate, if you're from non-IT, might be slightly lower, but at least
Yeah,
there
but
will be
it's not.
success rate.
Yeah, it's not significantly low. I've known lots of people, so that divide is much less here. You find a person who is interested in you, what you are up to, how they are interested in you for your actual integrity. How much enthusiasm you bring to the table. Those college days, those brands, they hold value, but much less once you start working with someone.
Agreed, agreed. So thank you very much, and thank you everyone who joined for the session. So just stay,
Thank you very much.